All right, so into the presentation today, boys. I'm going to be analyzing probably one of the most famous verses in the Bible, which is Jesus talking to the people and telling them to deny yourself, telling you to deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. I want to break down. This is so deep, this verse and what it means. And I think that we don't really have a full I personally, when I was ever taught, especially being raised in the church, my parents met at Bible college, really what this verse actually means on a practical basis. And it literally is something day to day that we have to do we have to start every day by denying ourselves. That's step one. And this is the order of which we do it. And pretty much what this is basically outlining is how to move from ego-driven life and reality to a source-driven purpose. Okay, so how to get out of your ego and aligned with source, which we talked a little bit about last week, but now we're going to be a little bit more in depth and deeper and clear into the actual practical things that we can do. This is the verse, Matthew 16:24. If anyone would come after me, to let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So whatever you feel about, no matter what you feel about, mainstream Christianity, basically what he's talking about here is source, which I think that most of us can agree that there's, a source of God, universe, whatever you want to call it, that aligns, that connects us all. And we talked about purpose. What is your purpose? Is to use your gifts or talents, passions that you specifically are good at to help reduce the suffering of others, which if we are all connected as one in one collective unit as source, will help bring up the entire humanity, reduce suffering, increase freedom, etc. So let's get into it. The core message, number one, deny yourself. Let go of the ego, selfish desire, and sin attachment. And we're going to get into what this means. The false self must stop driving the vessel. The vessel is your body and mind, your physical body and your mind, your cognitive thoughts. You must not let your ego be driving the vessel and be the one in control of what you're doing. Take up your cross. What this means is to accept your individual purpose. Even when it requires sacrifice, your cross is not random suffering, it is meaningful suffering. When you guys find your individual purpose, a lot of it times it's going to be hard to do, right? It's going to be difficult to whatever source has for you individually as your purpose. And if you guys are still on the method right now, if you're not at 10 out of 10 confidence and validation, your purpose is still to do the method right now. Okay, that's your full purpose. But once you're 10 out of 10, you'll be your individual purpose will be revealed, and it's going to be hard, guys. I mean, imagine like I was a normal guy, like just had a normal following on social media, and normal people that I knew from high school and college, and then it was like then I started making content like how I make now, and it's like, you know what? I have friends who tell me, friends of my like fraternity tell me, yep, people in my fraternity, they laugh at me. They laugh at me all the time. They talk shit about me to each other, gossip about me, joke about me like I'm a joke, all the time. And, that is a sacrifice, right? My ego would tell myself, oh, like, and it was hard, guys. It was hard to post my first reel. It was hard. And if you guys, I wish my Instagram was still my old Instagram. I have a new Instagram, by the way, but my old one, I wish it was still up. So you guys can see like how I was talking in my first reel. Just it was crazy different compared to how I'm able to project my what I am trying to get across now. But it's hard, guys. It was a hard transition, and it's a hard transition for anyone to do so. Even for you guys who think about making content, the hardest step is, well, others are going to judge me, right? And that's also what Jesus says that is going to happen when you do this, when you deny yourself, take every cross and follow me. They say, prophets, basically, there's someone who's spreading whatever your message is to the world, right, to help the world, will be honored everywhere besides his own home. So it's when I started making content, all these people started like following, like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Like you're awesome. All these people are appreciating me, giving me good comments, loving the message that I'm saying. You know who didn't? Nobody from my old life. Nobody from my old life. Like maybe a few here and there. Carl would like my stuff sometimes. Shout out Carl. Right. But most 99% of people before that they unfollow me, not to support any of my stuff at all. And lastly, follow me. What this is to align yourself with source, truth, love, service, and the mission of reducing suffering on earth. This is the goal, guys. Well, if you are aligned with source, if you're aligned with God, your goal should be to use your let go of your ego and use your individual gifts, your cross, and your message to help reduce the suffering on earth. Because if we are all united under source, we are one collective. The egoic thinking makes us all individuals. Right? And this is what creates the world we live in today, where it's like, oh, just dominate each other, conquer each other, win, win, win. I'm gonna eat animals for my own pleasure. Right? No, I don't. Suffering, torture, all the things we do to animals. No, it's okay because it benefits me because their flesh tastes good. Right? It's all egoic, right? And when you're allowed with source, it's true to see that um uh what is true, what we must do, which is to not cause suffering, not do any action that causes suffering to another living sentient being if we don't have to. So let's get more into deny yourself. Right? To deny yourself means that doesn't mean hating yourself. It means denying the false self, which is the ego. And what the ego is, it is your ego is motivated by dopamine. Your ego is attached to your material body. And your material body, what is the motivation hormone in your body? It's dopamine. So whatever you get the most dopamine from, that is what is driving your vessel. So when you guys, all of us in this group, we know that we don't want to watch porn. We don't want to masturbate. And guess what? Like I know I coach you guys. I know that you guys relapse. Right? I have too. Now that I have this new understanding, I don't think I'll ever relapse again, genuinely. I never said that before. Before I was always like, oh yeah, I'm always just try to go as long as I can before doing it again. Um, and so even though we have such a desire not to do it, our ego is driving our vessel, and what happens is you feel like you're not even in control. Right? Your higher self is not even in control. Next thing you know, you're pulling out the tabs, and your streak is gone. Right? Same goes for any one of the sins. We're gonna get into every sin. Uh, Again, sin is just your greatest dopamine source of your ego. That's what it means. It's not an action. It's whatever your greatest dopamine source, that is your ego's sin because it's what sin means is disconnected from source. When you guys are being driven by dopamine, you're disconnected from source. When you guys are masturbating, or do you feel connected to the source or connected to God or your higher self? Absolutely not. When I'm binge eating gluttonously 5,000 calories in one sitting, I don't feel connected to source, right? If you guys are feeling envious and hating on other people, right? Whatever, we'll get into all of them in a second, right? You're not going to be connected to the source. The ego says, I want pleasure now. I want validation. I want control. I want comfort. I want to be above others. I want what gives me the biggest dopamine hit. And if you're an unconscious person, we're all just motivated by dopamine. That's it. All right. An enlightened person is sheds the ego. They're no longer motivated by dopamine at all. This goes with Buddhism too, right? The root of all suffering is desire. What is desire? Dopamine. All right. Dopamine is the motivation, desire to go get something. So for Buddhism, right, it's when you overcome all desire, basically when you kill your ego, right, and sin and dopamine, then you achieve enlightenment. And what enlightenment is alignment with source. Denying yourself means your ego no longer gets to drive the vessel. Like I said, ego is it's an attachment. It's not what mainstream Christianity says, where it's like, oh, it's just you break these rules. We have these rules, and if you do any of these actions, you are sin. No, it's not. It's whatever pulls you away from source. Um, and what that is whatever your body and mind are mo most addicted to, whatever your biggest dopamine hit is. So, these are the sins. We got lust, pride, comfort, that's sloth, food, and I would put overindulgence in here too. So I would put weed, alcohol, nicotine, overindulgence of cheap dopamine. I would say that is gonna all go under gluttony, whereas sloth is like more comfort and like putting off like work and stuff like that. Attention and validation, that's gonna be pride, or other people viewing you as like, oh, you're the shit. Money, that's greed, and anger, that is wrath. Dopamine versus source. This is the spiritual battle that's in your head every single day, and that you have to fight every day. Every day, Jesus says you must lay your ego on the cross and follow me. Lay your ego on the cross and align with source. Every single, and that's not even every day, it's every moment of every day. This is what your dopamine-driven egoic self does. Chases pleasure, comfort, validation, fantasy, status, control, escapism. Source-driven self, you live for truth, but desire to seek truth, right? Everyone is desiring to seek comfort. That's why people deny truth, right? If you guys have seen any debates between vegan and non-vegan, or even watch my like Charlie Kirk debate, but any debate, it only ends in three ways. Either um the meat eater says, "Okay, you're right, I'll go vegan." They say, "Okay, you're right, it's evil, but I'm gonna do it anyway," or they get mad and walk away, and that is choosing comfort, right? And I find think that's better than the other one because saying, "Oh, it's wrong anyway," but it's wrong, but I'm gonna do it anyway. that's just an evil soul, right? So even though they're not coping, um, the people who are driven by comfort, a lot of times, eventually you can kind of get to them and make them realize that it's wrong, and then they'll want to do the right thing. But it goes for everything, guys. Uh, Source-driven self lives for love, discipline, service, freedom, purpose, and in the end, reducing suffering using your cross, taking up your cross, doing your purpose, and helping reduce the suffering of others because we are all one. Right? When you're aligned with source, you're aligned with everyone, and therefore you the feeling of, say we eliminate factory farming from existence and make the world vegan. Why would that make us so happy if you're aligned with source? Because it reduces the suffering of all of us that are interconnected as the collective. Your body be led by sin, attachment, or by source. Every day, it's one or the other. It's only one of these two things that you're driven by. The vessel analogy of the vessel. This is stuff we went over in the last call. The vessel is a container for your higher self, your ego, and your soul. It's basically your body and your brain. The ego, it wants to drive, it will negotiate, it will manipulate, it will rationalize, it will cope to stay in control. Right? How many of you guys have seen people who have addictions and or are prideful or are quick to anger or lustful, and they rationalize and they cope why it's okay to be driven by that every day. Oh no, it's okay for me to watch porn every day because it's good for my prostate. I'm supposed to masturbate to porn 21 times a month according to the studies for optimal prostate health, right? So like you're going to rationalize and cope in any way you want. Or the arguments that people make in regards to veganism if they're gluttonous, or the pride is a reason people won't be vegan as well. It's just insane. These people's arguments, insane. So it will do whatever it can. Sin wants to choose a direction. It points towards pleasure, comfort, and escape, whichever one gives you the most dopamine. The goal is for your higher self to take the wheel, not because sin disappears, right? Your sin will never disappear. And I posted a video where I said, accept your sin. And this was, I think, the day before we had the group call last week, and I said you will. This is where I was wrong. I posted another video saying that I was wrong about that, where I said that you will always relapse on your sin, and the goal is just to make it so you relapse as little as possible. That was 100% wrong. I was so fresh off the realization. I didn't live it for like I've lived it now for the week and realized how different my brain is with this new realization versus before. And it's not that I lived it. I realized that. Um, yes, your sin will never disappear in the sense that you're this little dopamine drive in your head, little tick towards, oh, do this, chase that dopamine, chase that dopamine. It will never disappear, but you can make it so it never wins. You can make it so it never wins. You have to be vigilant in the fight every day. It'll be a fight every day for you to push against your sin, push against your dopamine drive, and keep your ego out of the driver's seat of your vessel, but you can win. Well, take up your cross. Your cross is your individual purpose. Like I said, the burden, mission, responsibility, and sacrifice your soul is called to carry. Your cross is meaningful suffering. It's a pain you accept in order to become who God created you to be. Your purpose is usually found where your gifts meet the suffering of others. Okay. So I have suffered. I've lost friendships. I've lost relationships. And I haven't suffered that much in what I've done so far. But as Joe and I continue to spread our message and grow, the suffering is going to get a lot more intense, a lot more, right? Because we haven't made that much of an impact yet. We haven't really got been on the radar. It's not that bad, but it's going to continue to grow. And when you guys do yours as well, it's going to be the same thing. You have to accept that. And because you don't your ego is not driving you, you don't care about that. You don't care about the suffering that you as an individual or vessel are going to receive because you solely care about the freedom and reducing suffering of the collective of us together as one. Purpose requires sacrifice. Purpose asks you to sacrifice short-term pleasure, your old identity, right? All those old friends I had, they don't like me anymore, make fun of me. Fear, need to be understood. Ego validation, laziness, need to be liked, need to control everything. All right, you have to sacrifice these things, and these are all things that your ego really, really wants. Follow me. Uh, the last part of the verse, right, is to follow source. So, what do we align ourselves with? Instead of selfishness, we align ourselves with love. Instead of illusion and believing comfortable lies because they're comfortable, even though they're totally illogical, right? And if we sit with it and have the argument on the topic, usually we'll realize that These questions are difficult. If I'm being faced with these questions, I can't answer this, but it makes me feel comfortable, this belief, so I'm going to keep it, even though I can't really defend it. All right, instead, we let go of that. We chase truth over all else. Instead of ego, we chase service. I don't know why this like double te texted here. Um, Instead of comfort, we choose sacrifice. We choose pain for the greater good of us, of others, and society as a whole. Instead of addiction, we choose freedom, right? From addiction, from those chain. Addiction is a chain that enslaves you. Right? When you guys are addicted, when you're I keep talking about lust because I struggle with lust, right? When you're in the cycle of continuing to PMO or porn and masturbate, it's like you don't want to do it, but you're doing it anyway. You don't want to, but you're doing it. I mean, you guys can't lose weight because you're being gluttonous. You don't want to keep eating. Your soul doesn't, your higher self doesn't, but your ego's like, do it. And your vessel is just under the control and it can't stop. It literally feels like it's not your higher self controlling because it's not. Instead of judging others, you have compassion for others, even those who are ignorant, even those who are engulfed in sin. We don't judge them. We have compassion because judging is a prideful thing. And then purpose over pleasure. Jesus represents the fully surrendered vessel, not led by ego, but led by the Father, led by source. He is the epitome of what it means to be fully surrendered. All his sacrifice that he did for the good of others and to spread his message, and it got him, he was martyred. He was brutally tortured and brutally killed. And even to the last moment, he still allowed his vessel to be used by source rather than ego. Because he could have denied it. He could have any moment given in, but he didn't. And that's should be inspiring for us as we go along our journeys. Heaven on earth. All right, the goal, I think, is a really for me now and as a society overall for anyone who's aligned with source should to be to create heaven on earth. And the way that we create heaven on earth is mainly two things. We have to have the freedom to practice our rights whenever we want. And what a right is, it is any action that does not cause harm to another sentient being. So in heaven on earth, you have the freedom to practice your right as long as it does to do any action that doesn't harm others whenever you want. Total freedom, right? No enslavement. Number two thing about heaven on earth we need to have all our needs met fully. And so now the thing is, are we going to have to work in labor and heaven on earth? No, because if we have to work in labor, people don't want to work in labor. Right? Kings never labored. When someone has power, they never labor. Right? Laboring is slaves do it. So we need to be able to have unlimited resources. There's a lot of I'll make a presentation on that in the future of like what actually practically we need to do as a society to get to this state. But just in terms of working, if you have to work to get food to put out food on the table, guess what? You don't have the freedom to practice your right whenever you want because you don't want to go to work, right? If you don't have to, unless your job is your purpose. The end goal is not just personal discipline. The goal is to become useful to humanity as the collective. All right. And what is heaven on earth going to create? More love, more freedom, less addiction, less exploitation, less suffering, less fear, less selfishness, more purpose, when humans on Earth, heaven on Earth begins when humans stop being ruled by ego and start being ruled by source. And if we're all ruled by source, guys, then we do what is best for us as a collective together instead of take advantage of people, backstab people, put people into poverty, enslave people through the monetary system, portray people for our own egoic good, so we can get closer access to our favorite dopamine source, which is our sin. Seven ego attachments. Let's go over these again in more detail. Lust. What is lust? It's dopamine through sexual fantasy and craving and sex. Um, each steadily stands way for the ego. The ego tries to feel powerful, safe, satisfied, and complete. Gluttony, dopamine through overconsumption. This includes food. This includes drugs. Any overconsumption of cheap, easy dopamine. Greed, dopamine through possession and accumulation. In this modern day, it's mainly going to be money. Sloth, dopamine through comfort and avoidance. So just laying around, not doing anything, avoiding the hard work you got to do. Wrath, dopamine through anger and domination. Envy, dopamine through comparison and resentment, right? Hating others and actually, I don't know. This one is the one I don't understand the most. I feel bad for anyone who's envious. And if when you guys feel is envious, right, it's okay. You can still overcome it. All these things can be overcome. Just to like being in this state of being consumed by envy, I feel like is probably one of the least comfortable in my opinion. At least pride, you feel like him. You know what I mean? Pride, dopamine through superiority and self-worship. So These are the seven. Let's get into each one. I'm gonna give you guys practically advice for each one on what to do on a daily basis. All right, because every day we need to deny ourselves. Means we need to deny our sin on a daily basis every day. Lust. If I get what the ego tells us, if I get sexual pleasure or conquest, I feel whole. This is the motivator, right? I feel empty now, and what is going to make me feel whole is me being able to get sex. Lust turns people into objects. It makes the body chase the highest sexual dopamine instead of love, devotion, and purpose. Lust does not just happen physically, it begins in the mind. How to check it. So, how to deny yourself daily. Again, yourself is your ego. I'm bringing it back to the verse. How to not deny your ego and your sin daily. Stay busy with purpose. Okay, stay busy. Have things, don't have huge gaps in your schedule. Oh, 3 hours. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lay around the house, right? You're going to relapse. Deflect mental fantasy immediately. The second that sexual fantasy comes into your head, deflect it. Right? I know I made stuff about this before about the katana, right? Chop it. Some people they I saw someone say like the mental visual they use is that they put like you drag and like select things on like a on a computer. You can like highlight stuff like a box of it. They highlight the thought and they delete it, and the thought disappears. Now, because like I know I've been like in Star Wars. I just imagine I'm like a Jedi, like and just with a lightsaber and just like I just chop up the thought, and then it just like I'm literally the reason this is helpful, guys, is because you're actually thinking about something else, right? Because if you just sit there and only think about what I gotta do today, that lust is so strong. You have to think about it something combative, literally something strong and intense to combat that thought. So I think about myself with a lightsaber, fighting and chopping up this thought, like, no, you're not gonna get in, you're not gonna get in, you're not gonna get in, you're not gonna get in. And that is what makes it so that visualization that I'm having there of me doing that is stronger than the visualization that's trying to get into my head of a sexual act and it conquers it and gets it out. Protect your eyes and avoid triggers. This is mainly going to be on your phones, guys, and screens. Sexually transmute sexual energy into creation. This is going to be actually doing stuff, right? When you feel that energy, transmute it. Do qigong, go outside, go for a run, transmute that energy into muscle gain, right? Do not feed sexual imagination. That's like deflect mental fantasy, and keep lust in the back seat, not in the driver's seat. Okay, the back seat of your vessel. It's chilling back there. It's not driving you. You're being driven by source. It will always try to get into the front seat. Your sin will always be trying to get in. The thing is, though, like I said that I got wrong last presentation, is that you have the ability to never let it get back in. You have the ability. All right. It's just going to be a daily battle. Next, gluttony. If I consume enough, I will be satisfied. Gluttony is the overconsumption of anything. Food, scrolling, entertainment, substances, comfort. The ego tries to fill a spiritual emptiness with physical consumption. How to check it? Practice moderation. Before you consume anything, ask yourself, am I escaping? Like I said, gluttony is one of mine too. And with the GLP-1 or retatrutide, I don't it's the food is not an issue anymore and it helps a lot. And me being purpose driven, just gluttony doesn't seep in as much for me as lust does. Or try to get in as much as lust does. Before you do anything, ask yourself, am I escaping? So anytime I flip on my phone now, this past week, I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? Right? And I'll be observing myself and be aware of like I'm literally just trying to like find a distraction, a dopamine distraction. I'll put it down. Create boundaries around EG dopamine. App blocks on your phone. I know some of you guys are using in this call are using app block. I'm using it too to give myself only 30 minutes a day on Instagram. Replace consumption with creation. Or instead of watching content, make content on something. If you guys want to make content on your story right now. You don't have to post it. All right. But I had some of you guys make your own videos. All right. Do that. Choose nourishment over numbness. Eat and consume with intention. Okay. Now it's hard with the eating, but it's either we either gotta use fasting to control your appetite or GLP-1s. Like I'm totally pro GLP-1. It literally just turns off a human sin. It's like with almost like no side effects. It's like that's just it's like people hate on it. People who hate on it, typically they're hating on it because of their pride and because they don't want others to get the same physique benefits that they got without the GLP-1, not realizing that gluttony is not even a sin for them. So it's easy for them. For the person who struggles with gluttony, it's 10 times harder. And so the GLP-1 just makes the a fair game. The same thing with like TRT or anything. People, the natty bros, they hate, literally despise people who take TRT or take testosterone. Like not just and they say, oh, it's because it's bad for your health. No, if someone does something that's bad for your health, they're not gonna like hate someone who smokes cigarettes. So it's like, oh, well, it sucks that you're doing that, bro. Well, you should stop. But they hate testosterone or people doing peptides because it gives them an advantage that they're too scared to take on their own. And again, if you feel great naturally, you don't need to take testosterone. Don't take testosterone. Only take testosterone if you have low energy, despite living a healthy lifestyle. Greed. If I get more, I will finally feel safe. Greed is an attachment to accumulation. More money, status, followers, control, options. It convinces you that peace comes from having more instead of being aligned with source, right? As I get more money, once I get this much money, I'll finally be at peace with myself. Then you get there and it's like, oh, I made 5K a month. Now I need to make 10K a month. Now I need to make 20K a month. It's never ending. It never ends. Even Dan Bilzerian, we talked about Dan Bilzerian in regards to lust. His other one's probably greed too. Because he says, yeah, the more money, he's like, I switched from like chasing girls to chasing money because it's just switching from different sins in his ego, and it'll never satisfy him. He says it's a never-ending loop. How to check it? Practice generosity before you feel ready. So consciously you say, I need to be generous. Tell yourself, I need to be generous. I need to be generous. Use money as a tool, not an identity. Don't attach your self-worth to your money at all. Ask, am I accumulating to serve or to feel powerful? The only reason that I want to get money really is just so I can better do my purpose. Because when I have to think about how do I pay rent, I can't, that's the beginning of Maslow's hierarchy, right? I'm really not motivated by money beyond that. Um, and as long as I'm aligned with source, I trust that, I will have what I need to not have to worry about it. Simplify your desires, right? Think about what luxuries am I desiring, and realize that when you get that, it's not going to satisfy you. It's going to be a never-ending cycle. Focus on contribution, not possession. Nothing external replaces internal alignment, guys. Nothing that you gain, nothing that you buy will ever fully satisfy you, guys. You buy a new car, you're happy for, depends on the type of car, right? Or how much you like it. What, a month? Then it's like, oh, this is just my car now. So I get from point A to point B. And the thing is, it's a never-ending cycle of it. Sloth. Stay comfortable. That's what your ego tells you. Avoid the hard thing. Do it later. Sloth is not just laziness, it's resistance to purpose. When the soul knows what it's called to do, but the ego chooses comfort, sloth keeps people asleep. How to check it? Move, guys. Move your body. Actually get up, go and force yourself to exercise. Start before you feel motivated. All right, you don't need motivation to start these things. Create structure and do the hardest task first. That's a huge one because then the task you can use most of your motivation or energy in the beginning. The rest get easier. Lower the activation energy, so lower like the barrier that it takes for you to actually get started on it. Right? It's like create harder tasks first, but lower the activation to sit down and start doing it. Surround yourself with people who are disciplined and working hard. That's huge, guys. Sloth is like probably like my third behind lust number one, glowing number two, and sloth number three. And Joey is like the opposite of sloth, as you guys can tell his energy. And so being Joey helps me be less slothful. Now, really, the only reason I'm mainly slothful is because my hormones are totally screwed up. So if any of you guys feel like you're kind of lazy, but you have hormones out of whack, it could be the cause of that. Now that my hormones are dialed in, sloth is like it's extremely avoidable for me. Like it's not really a big deal. But because I've been, always messing with my hormones and stuff, and even besides that, sloth is my third one. Comfort becomes a prison when it replaces purpose, right? You're trapped in your bed and you feel like you have no motivation, energy to do anything productive. Wrath. If I dominate or punish, I will feel powerful. Wrath is ego pain turned outwards. It often comes from the wounded pride, fear, rejection, or loss of control. Anger can reveal something important, but wrath lets anger dry the vessel. And the key one here is that it's pain turns outwards, right? Anytime you guys see someone like a bar, some drunk guy, like, oh, you want to fight, bro? Like trying to start stuff and then be wrathful, it's like the person is insecure every time. Like if you guys hang around MMA gyms or fighters, like they're usually the most like usually the chillest dudes because they have the martial arts and learning how to defend yourself and fight gives you such an insane sense of internal confidence, unlike almost anything else. How to check it? Pause before reacting. All right, so stop yourself. Wait, why am I doing this? Do I need to do this? Breathe before speaking. Ask what wound is being touched. Why am I reacting to this way? Right. Check yourself. Check your ego. Never decide while emotionally possessed. Right. Let yourself calm down before you make rash decisions. Turn anger into boundaries, not destruction, and choose truth without cruelty. I would say wrath is my fourth one. Again, guys, you really gotta analyze your ego here, guys, and really study yourself. Wrath is my fourth one. I barely ever feel it. The only time I'll feel it is if like something that like should be trivial. It's like annoying me, like putting my contact in, and it's like it keeps like not going in. After like my fourth try, I'll get pissed. I'm like, what the? And so, but it's really not that bad. And the other three for me, uh, which is envy, pride, and greed, I don't really struggle with at all. Envy, their blessing means I am lacking. Envy is comparison turned into resentment. It makes you hate someone else's gifts because you have not accepted your own path. Envy distracts you from your cross, which is your purpose, right? Instead, you focus on what other people have that you don't. How to check it? Bless what others have, right? Align yourself with source and say, choose to be happy for them for what they have, right? Because them not having it is not going to make you happier. Yes, if you see someone that you envy and they go through a loss or a hard period, you're gonna feel better in the moment. You're gonna get that dopamine. If you struggle with envy, I don't understand how you get dopamine from that. Like I said, I don't struggle with envy, but for people who do, right, I understand that's what you feel. And again, it's not you don't choose what your sin is, guys. It's just a pat test to your vessel. Study instead of resent, right? Huge one. When I was at my low point, guys, I was literally suicidally depressed. I was living in a frat where we had a bunch of there's 10 sorority, young sorority girls over, 18, 19, 20-year-old sorority girls that over all the, multiple times a week. They would just come to our basement. I had a room down the hall. I'm with a frat with all these dudes and who's basically like the ultimate status, like how many girls are gonna hook up with, and that's the main like goal everyone's trying to do, the main like currency of like the hierarchy in the frat. And my dick didn't even work, and I was probably like the only one who was like that. Like you think that I didn't feel envy? I didn't feel envy. I felt like sad and like jealous, and I wished that I had what they had, but I never had resentment for what they had. But what I decided to do was like I could either resent and ruminate in my hate and my suffering, or I could study. That's what I did. That's how I discovered the method, guys. Was I said, let me learn from others who are better than me rather than hate them. And all of you guys in here have made that decision too. Even by signing up for a coaching program, you said, okay, I said Mike has some things that I kind of look up to, or he has some things in his life that I want, or some aspects about him that he transformed that I want. And instead of I could either resent him for him having what I don't have right now, or I could learn from him and get to the same point. Right. And that's what I did for all the guys who coached me as well. And so it's huge there, guys. I ask, what does this reveal that I desire? Right, in terms of envy. Return to your own mission. All right. Stop focusing on others. Stop looking for comparison triggers. Stop going on social media. Like there's some guys like Joey's social media. There's some dudes like who we know envy him, like that we know in real life. These dudes are the ones who like they literally try to like destroy his reputation. These dudes are the ones who watch his stories and watch his stuff first every time. It's insane. Because again, it's the dopamine drive, guys. If envy is your sin, what dopamine is the motivation. You're motivated to go and see the comparison and then hate and resent. That is what gives you dopamine. So you need to consciously say, I'm not going to look at if envy is your sin, you need to not look at things that are going to make you feel comparison. And that person's purpose is not your purpose, guys. Be content with what your cross is, what your gifts are, your passions are, your talents are that you can bring to the world, and use those to help to reduce the suffering of others. Lastly, we got pride. I would say pride is probably the most common one. And the hardest thing about pride is that it prevents you from taking the first step towards of this process, which is to accept what your sin is and acknowledge what your sin is, because that's the nature of pride, is that it's you have to humble yourself, and pride is the opposite of humility. Pride, I am the source. I do not need God, truth, or others. Pride is the root ego attachment. It refuses humility, correction, and surrender. Pride is often the last sin to be seen because it hides behind intelligence, success, status, and even spirituality, guys. For sure, pride is the most invisible. And like, we've been talking about lust for so long because like, lust is so obvious. Like if I'm masturbating, I'm a lustful person, right? But with Joe, we didn't realize that Joe's main sin was pride this entire time, and it was driving a lot of him. It's because it hides so well. It hides so even from yourself, it'll hide. And so we realized that together, everything this whole kind of philosophy of this of your sin and dopamine and ego and aligning with source in your vessel, we realized it together, and we both realized our sin together. We realized that pride was his, and neither of us saw it for so long. How to check it? Ask for correction. Right? Ask for people to critique you. Ask for people to kind of to tear down your ego a little bit. Hey, wait, man, what can I do better here? Hey, man, what do you think that about this? Like, do you think that any feedback for me on this? Right? Instead of just being, oh no, I'm this shit. I already did the best. Admit when you were wrong. This is one of the if someone can admit when they're wrong, that is the 100% um when you know that they're a bit prideful. Even when they're pinned against the wall and they still can't do it, pride they're consumed by pride. Stay teachable and humble. Guys, humble yourself every day, guys. If you get those thoughts of like, oh yeah, I'm the shit, I'm the best, I'm better, just you have to consciously be that's me. Do I deflect my lust? You have to be no, let me humble. I'm not superior to others. I'm not, right? Deflect, deflect, deflect. Serve people who cannot benefit you. Guys, people do things for people who don't who like I said can't benefit you. Help someone for free sometimes. All right. If you guys have the abundance to where you have the resources to be able to not worry about money, you can help someone for free. Do that sometimes. Stop needing to look superior. All right. When you guys post, we realized a lot of times what Joe was posting when he make posts, he did it because he wanted to look superior. If you guys see, he's changed his Instagram picture recently, right? Because there was a picture of him like flexing, looking in the mirror, all like prideful, and now it's just him like smiling with the sun in his face and fruit in the background, and he looks, if you guys, he looks so aligned with Source, and so you could see Source radiating from him because now he's checked his pride and put it in the back seat. He's no longer operating from it. And then for me, what I would post my physique was because of lust, because I got dopamine from I'd post the physique and then 3 hours later, I go check the who viewed my story, and if there's any like girls who are attractive view my story, dopamine, 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 because my brain subconsciously thinks that oh that girl likes you, maybe it's a chance to get closer to sex. Even though consciously I was like I was never gonna cheat on my wife, but it was just like my subconscious ego I was getting dopamine from it, because it was an opportunity if I wanted to that I could get closer to sex. Every gift came through you, not from you alone. Every gift that you guys have, every talent that you have was not you didn't earn it. All right. Now, if you got some things in your life, some things in your accomplishments you got through hard work, you can feel proud of your journey, right? But don't let it make you feel like you're superior to others. The only reason that I feel like, yes, I put in a lot of hard work, but I feel like I got to this point where I am now, where I'm a coach, almost like just it wasn't even me that did it. It was just like I didn't choose to have a brain tumor. I didn't choose that my brain was obsessed with researching. I didn't choose to come across all this information and have lust drive me so much, and the pain of not being attracted to women forced me to transform and realize the Wall method is a method that could transform any man into the best version of himself. It feels like it wasn't even me, guys. I feel like that I am no superior to anyone else who is on their point of their path, and they got to where they are at naturally. Right? We're all just following our life paths. And so understand that the gifts that you have is not oftentimes it was a gift given from, just like a blessing that you have that you didn't earn. And a lot of people are in worse situations than you. They're born into worse situations when it comes to their environment, their family, their genetics, their economic status. And like if you're born into a decent spot, like you didn't earn it. You were born into it. And so accept your blessings that you have, but don't let them make it you feel superior to other people. Daily self-check. This is the key, guys. This is why you wake up and deny yourself and lay your ego on the cross every day. What is driving me today? Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, or source. What is my cross today? Oh, let's start here. So, this you have to deny it every day, right? Now, what I'm doing, every action at every step of the way, as I'm asking, is lust driving me right now? Am I opening my phone to subconsciously try to get dopamine hit from something related to lust? Or am I opening my phone to reply to one of you guys? Uh, view Joey's story. Watch a video that I need to watch to help increase my understanding of truth. Um, and I'm asking myself that in every moment of every day, guys. And because I'm constantly checking, it is making it so I feel like literally, unless I just purposefully choose to stop checking, I will never fall back into lust. Even though I will always have to check and fight. This morning, like I was laying in bed, thought the lustful thought, came in with a lightsaber, just chopping up, chopping, 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 until it went away. And then it went away. And I'm able to do that all throughout the day now. I feel like totally at peace and fulfilled and just so much happier, guys. Because when you're driven by your sin, your dopamine, it's just a never-ending cycle, you guys know. Like say lust is your sin and you're watching porn and masturbating all the time, you're not happy. You're freaking miserable. It's just that when you're watching porn in the moment, you kind of like forget about how miserable you are. Right? But then you're done, it's just like, fuck, I feel like shit. Right? Well, now when you're aligning yourself with source, guys, you feel amazing 24/7. Right now you have to get to the point of internal validation, right? If you guys look in the mirror and you're like, oh man, I hate the way I look. And here's the thing with lust, guys, what I realized too is that there's two different things. There's lust, which is like the desire for dopamine from sex, and there's also the need to be able to reproduce. If you guys do not have abundance in the sense that you don't have a girl who you could like take on a date and like work towards becoming your wife and have a family, the desire for reproduction is not sin. Even the Bible says, "Be fruitful and multiply." That is not sin. And if you do not have the ability to reproduce, as in like you do not have a woman that you like, Joey, he's not dating anyone right now, but he's not worried about it because like, dude, he has like girls in his DMs, vegan girls asking him to marry him. So it's like he has so much abundance in that sense. Um, so he doesn't need to. But I even talked to some of you guys on this call, right? It's like I don't even though if I don't have abundance, I don't have women that I could like actually go on dates with right now. I don't have women like I could text and be like, hey, let's go on a date. And subconsciously, your brain knows that you have no ability to reproduce right now. And that is a different existential crisis as a man. And it's okay to use that crisis to fuel your self-improvement journey. And for you guys who are in that stage right now, it's probably because you're not at the 10 out of 10 version of yourself yet. You're still on the method. Um, and so it's going to bother you. That's going to bother you until your brain subconsciously realizes like, oh, I have women that like me and want to be with me and probably would want to marry me. All of a sudden, you don't have to think about it anymore, right? And it's not the actual act of sex that you're getting. So I want to differentiate those two things, guys. The need to be able to reproduce if you wanted to, and lust are two separate things. Because even guys who don't struggle with lust, if they can't find a girl, if they can't find love, they're going to be unhappy. You're going to be unfulfilled, and you're going to be obsessed with like, how do I get like a girl to like want to like be with me and have a family with me? So those are two separate things I want to make clear with that, guys. So if you guys feel like you're being driven by the desire to have a woman when you don't have one, it's not always lust. It's not always lust. Okay. Now, the second part, right? What is my cross today? What sacrifice is purpose asking of me? What would love do? What would truth do? What would service do? All right. So may I ask myself, what is best aligned for me to best help the world right now? All right. Okay. Well, I have my scheduled calls. I'm going to help my individual guys who I'm having calls with. I have a group call, right? I'm gonna record this. I'm gonna spread this to the tribe. I'm gonna post this on YouTube to help anyone who watches it, right? And then I just ask myself, what is my best use of my time to accomplish my mission of using my gifts to help reduce the suffering of others. Right? Ask myself that every single day. How to deny the ego daily? Some different the things that no matter what your sin is are gonna help. Stillness, prayer, meditation. Qigong, guys, control your energy. Pray, meditate, right? That is the dissolution of your ego, allowing yourself to just sit in awareness. Allow source to come through. All right, be at zero. Right, if you guys have a new Instagram account, it's Michael B underscore zero. And that's I'm trying to be in the state of being at zero fully, which is basically my ego is at zero and I'm fully just allowing source to work through me. I might keep my sin, my dopamine in the background at all times. I even try to think as little as possible and just allow source to, so my own thoughts don't cloud me. I just allow God to work through me. Physical discipline and hard work, exercise, right? That's a huge part of the method. You guys got to do that every day. You got to, no matter what. Purposeful work, right? When you guys have purposeful, you guys don't have no purpose, like I don't know what to do in my life. Well, right now, if you don't know what to do, what your individual purpose is, what your cross is to do the method. So check your power list. Did I do everything on my power list today? Yes or no? Okay, if you didn't do it, do it. Brotherhood and community, that's why we're here. Honest self-reflection, guard your inputs, service to others, boundaries with temptation. I put up boundaries to prevent, for me, my lust from even starting to climb out of the back seat and a clear mission that's going to keep you motivated to put that lust in the back seat because guys, well, for me, like I see like people comment on my YouTube. Joey gets comments on his Instagram and DMs of people saying every day, "Oh, you turned me vegan, man. Thank you so much. I didn't realize, right?" It's like that's so when you're operating from source and your goal is to help others, that is so motivating. That's so motivating. And you guys use that, and it's more fulfilling than anything else by far. Anything else, like the best, even as lust is my sin, the best sex ever is nothing compared to that. Or whenever you guys get a win, or when say you and you guys get on TRT and 3 weeks you're like, oh my God, I feel so great. As someone who struggled with hormonal issues, and I know the pain of having low energy, that nothing makes me feel better ever. Makes me feel more happy. And so use that as motivation for you guys if you don't know your individual cross yet to get yourself to the point where you're 10 out of 10 confidence so you can figure it out and receive it. Here's the order of transformation, guys. So step one, say you guys are watching this. right now you're watching this recording and you just realizing like what your sin is. That's step one is awareness, right? Oh, like I see, I understand what you're saying, Mike, that my dopamine drive is my sin, which is my ego. Be honest, admit what it is. All right. For me, number one, lust. Number two, gluttony. Number three, which is like get a bit lower, sloth. And number four, which is like barely there, is wrath. All right. So you need to be honest about what yours are. You need to analyze all of them. Do I have any of this one? Right? Is this one a high level sin for me? Is it mid? Is it low? Or is it nothing? Um, and admit it. And if you as a sin is pride, that's gonna be the hardest one to admit by far. So other ones are gonna be much easier to admit. So if you're prideful, be honest. Uh, Sometimes that, if you're prideful, guys, it's good for other people to ask other people if you're prideful. Ask someone else if you don't know if you're prideful, and because if you're not prideful, you're probably like really know. But if you don't, even then, ask a brother if you feel like you're prideful. I don't think anyone in this call right now is operating from pride. Maybe some people in this call have pride as a driver that they have to fight. Next is to be discipline. All right. So now that I understand my lust or any of your sins, I set up these things. Okay. Protect my eyes. Deflect mental fantasy. Stay busy. All right. To set up your body to success, surrender, yield to source, and allow source to fully work through you to accomplish and hit your purpose every day, which is to use your gifts, your vessel's individual gifts to help reduce the suffering of others, service, and then boom. This is enlightenment, guys. This is self-actualization. Why this process that I described to you, you get to freedom. This is what I'm at now. I feel amazing, guys. I feel like I'm like 12 out of 10 happiness right now. Even though there's stuff in my life that's going crazy right now, and there's a lot of tension with certain aspects of my life, um, that some people would be like totally distraught by because I'm operating from here. I'm totally fine. I can handle anything. I'm totally grounded. And it's just because of this, guys. And it happened in the last week. I had this realization. This was 7 days ago, guys, when I realized this. That was awareness for what I just described to you. I admitted what my sin was. Me, Michael, no, the semen retention coach who teaches you guys how to reduce porn. No, I'm probably one of the most lustful guys because I'm so driven by lust in terms of dopamine and sex. Um, so I had to admit that. And then we got to this point. Heaven on earth starts internally. A free world requires free humans, but most humans are not free. They are slaves to lust, food, comfort, anger, money, comparison, and pride. The freer the individual becomes from the sin attachment, the more capable they are of creating freedom from others, of accomplishing their purpose. And guys, when you are doing that, when you are using your gifts to help reduce the suffering of others, this is how you feel. You will feel, I promise you, more happy and more fulfilled than anything else, and it doesn't go away. It's a steady state that you will feel 24/7, greater than any dopamine hit you could ever get. The eternal freedom, the individual breaks free from the ego attachments, community impact, free people build free communities, heaven on earth, society changes overall when enough people are led by a source. If everyone did this, you know what we would do? No one on earth would eat animals. No one on earth would be exploit others for their own gain. Because the ego is evil. Ego is sin. Basically, if we can all do this, what we're doing is we're getting rid of sin on earth, and our ego, and we're becoming one, united with each other. And this is possible to do, guys. This is not impossible to do. It's hard because society's set up. It's set up in a way to force us into our egos, to force us to be against each other. But if everyone understood this message, guys, and had the humility to go through these steps, this is where we would be overall on Earth. Um, so full spiritual blueprint, guys. Deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. Stop letting ego and sin drive attachment. Accept your purpose and sacrifice that it requires. Align with source, love, truth, and service. Your mission is to become a vessel for reducing suffering, increasing freedom, and helping create heaven on earth. So to ask yourself, if you're watching this, what's an attachment most often drives your vessel, which is what is the dopamine source that is driving you most of the time? What dopamine source pulls you away from the purpose? What is one practical thing you can do this week to put that attachment in the back seat? And what cross are you avoiding, right? What is God telling you to do? You're like, no, no, I don't want to do it. And my sister, she struggles with pride, and she wants to make vegan fitness content, and she admitted that she made a separate account with only like 100 or 200 followers now, and is posting a lot of vegan content on there. And she doesn't want to post it on her main account with thousands of followers because she realized that she's prideful, and she doesn't want them to judge her because she wants the validation that they give her, and that she doesn't want to lose their validation by posting vegan content to people who aren't vegan. And ask yourself what would change if you fully followed source. So that is it, guys. If you guys are watching this recording, thank you for watching. I encourage you to deny yourself, as Jesus said, take up your cross and follow source. Peace.